And we are live on Discovery Paranormal. Right after Halloween, man. Halloweeny, a couple days ago. We did the live Halloween show on United Public Radio Network with a host of freaks, demons, and goblins. What do you think of that? And on the show, we started talking about demons. And I started thinking about demons and what people think demons really are and what demons really are and what I think they are. But what do I know? Only my ideas, we're all different, right? It's all our interpretation of what things might be. So if you look at history, and forever mankind has been looking to blame all the terrible things they do on something else, that it made them do it. The devil made me do it. The demons made me do it. Facebook made me do it. Like that. But there's a bigger story. There's also a scientific story, an alien story that talks about this stuff too. And if you start thinking of what we reference things as and what they really are, especially back in the day, when people were dumber than they are now, if you can imagine that. And you can't fix stupid. It kind of is what it is. There are people that will believe whatever you tell them, but once they learn that thing, they don't believe anything else. That's kind of funny. So let's talk about demons. People say, I'm a demonologist. Met this dude in the ghost hunting world. He told me he was 18 years old and a demonologist. I'm like, wow, you got a lot of experience. You don't have to be old to be a demonologist, man. Okay. And it's kind of funny. He was the first guy that went running out of the building. And it was funny because he had all these tattoos on his head of all this like weird stuff and symbols. And I'll tell you, man, all that means nothing. All that has a value of nothing. The people that live within that box and tell themselves that it does, they're they're idiots. It's like the crystal skulls, right? A long time ago on Yahoo groups, this is how long ago it was. These people hit me up, and what was I doing there? Yeah, I guess I started doing paranormal investigations, so I was already doing it for a couple of years. These guys hit me up, and I looked for tend to look for people who are more local to see if they had investigations, what was going on, and then we were all making a name for ourselves, just doing our thing, helping people out, and all that stuff, which was cool, and that was the name of the game, really, and to learn things. So you meet a lot of people, and a lot of people that they're not uh, they're not like you. they're not like me. They're different. The people they are, and then those different people all have a different idea of stuff. So the 18-year-old demonologist, you want to burn some incense? It's great. Gonna burn some sage? That's nice. If you believe it, that's the power that makes it true. If you understand that, then you understand the whole paranormal world, just like that. I mean, all of it. Because to have these experiences, you need to be open to them, number one. If you're not open to them, it doesn't work out very well. In the world of demons, there's a lot of Christian demons, there's Jewish demons, there's Greek mythology demons, there's all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, lots of it. Japanese demons, Turkish, Slavic. You got one called Allah. Not like Allah, like Allah. What's Allah? What is it? Uh, And Allah or Hala, pronounced Ale or Hali, is a female mythological creature recorded in the folklore of Bulgarians, Macedonians, and Serbs. Those are my people, man. I'm like half Slavic, Greekish Slavic. Ale, Ale are considered demons of bad weather, whose main purpose is to lead hail, producing thunderclouds in the direction of fields, vineyards, or orchards to destroy the crop. Now, do you really think that there's an entity out there that's going to produce hail to rain down on you and destroy your crops and all that, causing the misfortune of mankind? So, but there's a main theme that anything bad that happened, they blamed it on the demon. Anything bad that they did, that they didn't want to take responsibility for, demon made me do it. It was the demon. So, like this, right? What is it? Let's see. Ale particularly like to eat children. Through their gluttony is not limited to the earth, though. It's believed that they sometimes try devouring the sun or moon, causing eclipses. That would mean the end of the world should they succeed. Would you be eating that moon made of cheese? See some ale up there with a big box of crackers going on it. But that's how people were so simple back in the day, right? To make up these stories to try to explain whatever. You know what I mean? How about Sumerian? So there's thousands of demons, right? Hundreds of well-known demons. Beelzebub. This is Beelzebub or Beelzebul is a popular one. People know it. They probably don't know a lot about it, but they probably heard it before. You probably heard it before, right? Is the name derived from a Philistine god formerly worshipped in Ekron and later adopted by some Abrahamic religions as a major demon. The name Beelzebub is associated with the Canaanite good Baal, god Baal, good God, bad God. The in theological sources, predominantly Christian, Beelzebub is another name for Satan. Satan. He is known in demonology, and that's where they go wrong, referencing a sex when it comes to this. He is known in demonology as one of the seven princes of hell. Okay, the dictionary infernal describes Beelzebub as a being capable of lying, known as the Lord of Flying. I think lying would have been make more sense. Capable of flying, known as the Lord of Flyers, like American Airlines, or Lord of the Flies. Yeah, flies. In the Hebrew Bible, the source calls Beelzebub in the Book of Kings, written Baal-zebub, referencing a deity worshipped by the Philistines, Baal, the Lord, blah, 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 blah. And what does it do? Lord of the Flies. I've heard that. That movie, The Lord of the Flies. The Testament of Solomon Beelzebub appears as the prince of demons and says that he was formerly a leading heavenly angel who was associated with the star Hesperus or whatever. And the Christian Bible, of course. Mark 3:22. The scribes accused Jesus of driving out demons by the power of Beelzebub, the prince of demons. The name also appears to the expanded version of Matthew. And Jesus knew in their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and every city or household divided against itself will not stand. Sounds like what's going on now, right? If Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. So how can his kingdom stand? And if I drive out demons by Beelzebul, by whom do your people drive them out? So then they will be your judges. But if I drive out demons by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. God damn it. And you can see lightning flashing. People love that powerful type of stuff. Anything that people deem as powerful, you know. And that's the essence of the message that they have. They look at movies, and most of these movies, most of them have some kind of gun violence, or they use guns for one purpose or the other, to settle the score or to control things or whatever. Isn't that funny? Just an observation, you know. So let's get off of this and on to the important stuff, because we can talk demons all night long. Oh, then don't forget about the Leviathan, man. You know, Lucifer. Lucifer, the giver of light, right? And it's kind of interesting. So all of these names and all these things, try to take them all once removed, you know, and like Lilith, for instance, who was supposedly Adam, from Adam and Eve, Adam's first woman before Eve. I say this to people, even Christians, and they laugh. Oh, there was no one before Eve. You've been grossly misinformed. My priest told me so. It's written right there in the Bible. It's written right in the Bible. Tried to hide Lilith. They reference Lilith as a demon that was spawning demons, you know, and basically any hag or any kind of like thing like that would be attached to Lilith. And it's interesting because in the Jewish Bible, and when they talk about Lilith, and they only gave her a couple of lines, you know, the history is that Lilith was made from the dust of the earth, right? And she and Adam were together. Lilith wanted to be on top, as it were. She wanted to be an equal to Adam. And then apparently God wasn't having it. So cast Lilith out of the Garden of Eden. She's sitting there on the other side of the wall, whatever it was, the fence. And here comes the 12th rib and makes Eve from Adam, right? If you think of the story scientifically, it's pretty interesting about DNA and being able to create pretty much anything you want if you have that proper technology. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of things you could associate with this anyway. So then at some point, Lilith was outside, kind of just crying. Adam kicked her out, or God kicked her out. Adam wanted her back, especially now since he had the other one, then he'd have two. And then boom. So then Eve felt bad for Lilith, and she went outside the Garden of Eden to console her and sit there talking to her. Wouldn't it be funny if they ran off as lesbians, man? The ultimate, the ultimate story. The greatest story ever told. But to me, it's funny because I can link technology to all these things. And in our world, technology is very real. Stories, not so much. Technology, yes. Are there footprints of technology that we have now, and also technology that we will certainly have in not very very long, right? Working for those goals. Is it wrong to think that all of these stories came about because of the limited interpretation of people at the time and what they were witnessing? And they just didn't know how to put it into words when it came to people or whatever. Because most of these demons that are listed uh, had some kind of purpose about them, and they helped mankind develop. So think of that. So how's this? The earliest accounts of demons having relationships with humans in Jewish and Christian traditions come from the book of Genesis, right? Where it all began. Genesis. Early night. Hold on. That's some. I can feel it coming in the air at night. Hold on. Hold on. So, the book of Genesis, which details the origins of the world of the earliest history. I'm sorry. That's what you get when you listen to this show. All right. So, but Genesis, which details the origins of the world of the earliest history of humanity, sort of, it does, but it jumps around. And sometimes when they talk about an age or something, a lot of years move between that age, you know. And then when you start thinking of Noah and Noah's father, Methuselah, or his grandfather anyway, when you look at the hierarchy going all the way up to so-called Adam, you definitely see a real close relationship between these people. But then their mission was to populate the earth. It was for no other thing. That was their mission, was to train people, teach people, do things, populate this earth. All right. So Genesis says that prior to the flood of Noah, right, and you can interpret that a lot of different ways, that fallen angels mated with women to produce a race of giants, right? And if you ever watch Ancient Aliens, you know about uh, all those stories, the Narafim and all that, and blah blah blah, right? They found dig sites of places all around the world with huge skeletons, 14, 15 feet tall for the males and 10 feet tall, 11 feet tall for the women. I mean, and then they say, oh, the government's always quick to jump out saying it's a hoax, but yet, you know, you can't trust anything they say. So, it's more about the opposite of what they say. The weather balloon. Interesting. Okay. So the brief mention of angels breeding with human women contained a few details. It was left to later writers to fill the gaps. So forget about the embellishments from later writers, right? Because the Bible's full of that. The real Bible that has over 50 books, 60 books, whatever it is, the Ethiopian Bible. Well, the Greek Bible's got like 50 books. The Ethiopian maybe even more, like the Book of Mary, which the Catholic Church doesn't want anything near them. They want to control the story of history or the tidbits, right? So they can manage people, which is kind of what it is. So in the 3rd century BC, the Book of Watchers, an apocalyptic vision writer, in the name of a mysterious character named Enoch, mentioned in Genesis, expanded on this intriguing tale. In this version, the angels or the watchers were not to have sex with women and birth giants, but they did. They also taught humans magic and the arts of luxury and knowledge of astrology. So this knowledge is commonly associated in the ancient world with the advancement of human civilization. So these fallen angels had come down. Why ever they were called fallen angels, I think that because they came from the sky and they were in fire chariots and things like that. I mean, when you start thinking like, okay, man, this is what their term is. It's an angel. You see something, oh, it's an angel. And if it comes down from the sky, it's a fallen angel. Does that mean it's a bad thing? Does that mean it's a demon? It just means that's a fallen angel in their term, in their view, you know. So the story is quoted in let's see, in the Epistle of Jude. Jude cites the Book of Watchers is an attack on perceived opponents who he associates with demon knowledge. Christians in the second century AD, such as the influential theologian Tertullian of Carthage, treated the text as scripture, though it is only considered scriptures now for some Orthodox Christian communities. Let's see. Tertullian retells the story of the Watchers and their demonic arts as a way to discourage female Christians from wearing jewelry, makeup, expensive clothes. Fail. You failed on that one. Dressing in anything other than simple clothes, like a potato sack, means that that one is under the influence of demons. So automatically, if you like something, you want something for yourself. It's the influence of demons. Yeah, every time I see an altar in a Catholic church or Christians have it too, all these people have a lot of wealth focused on that altar, especially Catholics. We're doing a lot of gold and jewels and things like that. Real, the same building you're in with all that expensive bling. There are people starving on the steps, basically, or homeless, you know, and that's the duality of this game called religion. But then it's the stories that they make up to control the masses too, right? So if you think that there was an advanced life, right, that would come down to help humans exist and flourish, maybe they had their own selfish part of it too. Maybe they needed to survive too, and somehow that's a symbiotic relationship. We certainly have seen the U.S. government talk about these alien craft that were floating above the Nimitz. And they had no real explanation. We don't know what it is. They're watching them. They're watching each other. Certainly, they can invade U.S. airspace with no problem. If that was any other country, we would have a missile up the kazoo. So there's definitely life out there that a lot of people won't even understand. But just know that there's something different, and it's not bigger, better, whatever. I don't know. It's just different, and you can judge it for yourself when these things unfold. So, but when it comes to religion, for as long as Christians worried about demons, they also, thought about how to protect themselves from them. So, and then comes money, trinkets and baubles and things that you can buy to keep the demons away. It was a big business, man. You know, the first biography of Jesus Christ, the Gospel of Mark, written around AD 70. Well, who knows really? Presents Jesus as a charismatic preacher who both heals people and casts out demons. In one of the first scenes of the gospel, Jesus casts out an unclean spirit out of a man in a synagogue. Out, demon! I know, man. Be gone, demon. You see those guys in Phoenix, Arizona? They're like two Hasidic Jews, and they were just outed as evangelical Christians, and they'd done this for like 12 years or whatever. And then like doing marriages and all the other stuff, like they bring it as two rabbis. That's how crazy it is. People. Jesus was Jewish. What are they worried about? So what's all this mean? It means that there are things that you don't know. And inside of that world of things that you don't know, there are people that want you to believe things that they can't prove to you. It's the greatest bullshit story ever told, you know? So, but now, my purpose is in this show is to kind of say, if I were a demon and I wanted to corrupt people's lives, that was my if that was my job, then I'd want to do corrupt a lot of people and not waste any time. If it was my hobby, then I'd probably pick on this one, that one, and the other, and crush them and watch them break and laugh about it and eat some lasagna or some pasta, some Italian food, something that just seems to go together. you know, so if you're a demon and you want to bring people into your world and corrupt them, then you want to live in a place like Hollywood. You want to be in the music business. You want to be in the media. You want to be the one controlling these people's emotions, making what their thoughts are every day, or is the crap that you're putting in their brain. You programming them. People laying there in bed at night thinking of the day, and they're thinking of all these things that have been put in their brains by bad sources, right? So is the demon that horned, decayed creature that has the horrible smell, with a cloven foot in the woods, looking for the little individual victim to wander across so they can get them? Or is the demon the big people that you already know? You know, the big CEOs, the actors that are out there, the people that pull you in, and some of them don't mess with people with putting out their so-called message or agenda, right? But a lot of them do. But look at the circle of the world, and I'm not even talking about. I'm not saying like Ben Affleck's a demon. I'm going to say that demon exists in that world, right? And how low you have to go to take part in that world. That to me is a demon. Somebody who makes you lesser of the person you are because of your own desire and greed, or the things that you want for yourself. Just put it that way. You know, Lao Tzu said there's no greater curse than desire. No greater curse than wanting something for oneself, right? So, the term demon is derived from a Greek word, daemon, meaning divine power, fat, or God. Now, those three things are divine power, sure. Fat, God. Fat's supposed to be, the fat people that were painted fat back in the day. They had a lot of wealth because they actually had enough food to eat to become fat. It's like that. The actual translation of demon means replete with wisdom. So, connoting that demons were highly knowledgeable creatures, evident in their knowledge of an individual's secretive sins. Demons were fallen angels who followed Lucifer from his expulsion from heaven by God to hell. But they're wrong, because in the Bible, it doesn't say that Michael, the archangel, took Lucifer and threw him down into hell. It said Michael took Lucifer and threw him down to the earth, right? So look, got that straight. The demonologists heavily believed that the sole purpose of a demon is to tempt humankind into immoral acts and come between humans and God. Now, do you believe that? Demons are usually associated with evil, but in pre-Christian and non-Christian cultures, demons were and are not necessarily good or evil. This is an important distinction to make, especially concerning the demonic possession and exorcism. So, one of the initial steps in those cases is to identify if the demon is good or bad. So then now here you go. There's demons that are good or bad. Do you know that? So if the demon's not evil, it still is necessary to exercise them, right? Put them on a treadmill, one of those stairmasters or something. However, it does not become a matter of life or death for the victim. In addition, the exorcist does not place himself in a tremendous amount of danger because they're dealing with that. See, and all these stories are cute and fuzzy, funny, interesting, sometimes horrific. But it goes to show you how limited humans are in their scope of what a demon really is. So, do you really think that here are these demons out there looking to corrupt your crappy life? That all they got to do? And if you read the Bible about the good, the bad, it depends on who's telling the story. I mean, when you listen to the interpretation from all these preachers, of course they're going to tell it a certain way. And then that's their interpretation of that story. Now, the Buddha, right, says we're all on our own journey, all of us. And everything that happens is our own personal interpretation. So it's also choices. Do you think people choose to murder somebody? Or it just happened naturally occurring, or the demon made him do it? I remember the son of Sam. That was a big deal. The guy went and killed people. You know, he said a dog told him to do it. A German Shepherd, nonetheless. Now, you know what? If you're going to say that a dog is a demon and telling you to go kill, a Chihuahua is a way better choice for that message than a German Shepherd. You really don't think a German Shepherd is going to dabble in that type of negativity, man? But a Chihuahua? Oh yeah, man, oh man. Even a Corgi, I don't know, man. Corgis are super cute, and I hear they're real mean. I don't know. You gotta start thinking about that. Who the demonic puppies really are. But people think that. They think that people are stupid, and you can't fix stupid. At one time, and here in the United States of America, not even that long ago, they took women and put stones on their chests to kill them because they thought they were witches. And if they died a good Christian. If they lived, they were a witch. That's how stupid people are. And it wasn't until they accused the governor of Massachusetts' wife of being a witch until that thing was over. He's like, that's it. But, you always have to understand you can never underestimate people and what they do and what they think. And when I watch these horror movies, for instance, because Halloween just went through, and there's horror movies on TV, and I'm not into the slasher movies, I'm not into the blood movies. Zombies are fun. I've seen them all a million times, and I'm done with that. I'm a little zombie burned out. But what do I like? I like just, I've become a terrible YouTube type of mentality where I can only watch something for 5 or 6 minutes and then flip it off, and find something else. And that's my attention span these days for these things, because there's so much content out there. It wasn't like back in the day where we only had like a few channels when I was growing up. We had like 11 channels, and some part of that was like UHF, which was the fuzzy channels that barely came in, or you had to like stand there next to the TV, touching the antenna or whatever to make things come in. Things have changed, man. There's a lot of content now, and I don't have cable. I've got Wi-Fi, and I subscribe to a couple different things, and I don't pay much, and I have all the content that I want and more and more. So cable's gonna be a thing of the past. They're full of demons. That's it. So, do you think that you need the threat to make the money? You think that these religious organizations needed some kind of adversary that was also unseen to raise that money, to fight those demons? Give us money, we'll fight those demons, right? There's a lot of that in human beings. There's a lot of that, and especially when, like Elon Musk, okay? The UN says it will cost billion to solve hunger in the world and get the world on track against and get people out of the starving situations. Okay. Elon Musk said, I will sell $6 billion of Tesla stock right now and give you the money if you can be accountable and show me where every dollar of that 6 billion bucks is going. The UN said, that's it. One of the generals chimed in, well, we'll sit down and talk. We'll talk. And of course, where do you think your money goes when it goes to those sources? It goes to those demons. These are human beings that do terrible things to other human beings. They're not possessed by some evil spirit. They're not possessed by whatever. If you go talk about fallen angels coming down from the sky with tools, teaching mankind how to build things and do things and grow things and exist, that doesn't sound like a negative situation to me. If you're going to talk about humans, selling each other out for a couple of bucks of the terrible things that people do, that sounds like that kind of activity to me. But it's not the demons who are making them do it. How do I know? Because I do. Because I do. And they want the excuse pill. They want the blame. I didn't do it. It was somebody else. I wasn't even there. I was home making cocoa. I have no idea how that factory blew up. It wasn't me. So, did a dog tell you to go kill? Really? Was it a demon sitting on the edge of your bed telling you something? Was it the church trying to make a demon out of things that they didn't want? They didn't want women to be equal. That's why they demonized Lilith. They didn't want people to be equal to one another, period. Believe it or not, the only one who did was Muhammad at that time. And Muhammad, if you listen, see, you got to dig into the roots of Muhammad, right? And there's a lot of truths in there. And Muhammad talked about Mary, for instance, and acknowledged Mary, Jesus' wife, Mary, where they didn't want to talk about that in the Catholic world. They don't say a word about that. They buried those books out in the desert. A lot of them were found. Isn't that funny? But it was supposedly the Archangel Gabriel that came to Muhammad and took Muhammad out to see the civilization of the world, future civilizations of the world, and then took them out into outer space to see other civilizations and gave Muhammad that vision. Muhammad said men and women enter heaven equally, but at some point, people came along and distorted all these nice things and cool things that Muhammad said and into controlling things and controlling factors. Like the burqa and all that. That what they wear on the streets. That was a desert thing. That's what men and women in the desert used to wear because they had to with all the sandstorms and whatever. It's unlikely that even Muhammad would have known that at his time and his era. So the people want to take these things and put extensions on them and make them into something that they're not. But there's real truth behind it. And the truth is beautiful truth. It's not an ugly truth. But what they create out of it turns into ugliness, doesn't it? So remember that about demons and people when you start thinking about people and demons. I'll see you guys next week on this here show. This is Discovery Paranormal on United Public Radio Network, UPRN Talkradio.com. I'll see you guys next week on the show. Bye.